What game do you dislike that everyone else seems to like? I absolutely despise those party games where everyone sits in a group and assigns cards to people like most likely to end up in hospital with 2 broken legs. Inevitably, all the cards get assigned to the 2 or 3 loudest people with the biggest personalities while everyone else has to just sit and watch for 45 minutes. Even worse, if it's with a group of people who don't really know each other or to separate groups of friends who are at like a joint event for a mutual. At that point, just play Cards Against Humanity or something. Stellar Blade, like, I get it. The MC has nice ass. But that's kinda all. She's pretty. No doubt. But quite vulgar at the same time. The gameplay so far seems mediocre, and I didn't like how they animated the characters. However, they did a good job animating hair. Anyways, Bayonetta has a lot of suggestive moments, far more explicit than in Stellar Blade. Nonetheless, Bayonetta is iconic. It has style, and the same applies to Nier. I don't dislike or hate Stellar Blade. Nah, I'm more disappointed. Baldur's Gate 3. I just don't get it. Hugh an ugly frog lady, and then the spaceship is in some medieval setting. And it's all this silly top-down view like some game from 1997, and you just click on stuff to fight, and it just seems so lame. I pirated it and I just didn't get the appeal at all. Also, the entire character design was a massive turn-off for me. Does anyone really go, wow, Frog Lady is so cool? Witcher 3. Just couldn't get into it after 3 hours. And the counter-argument is, well, it's a 50-hour campaign that is really good, so sure, it may really captivate me after 10 hours, but it may not. And my game time is too limited to take to that chance for a game that didn't hook me in after 3 hours. Even to games that started off notoriously slow, like Days Gone and Red Dead Redemption 2, got better after a couple of hours. People keep telling me that Alien Isolation is really good, but the first few hours are extremely linear with almost no input from the player besides walking from plot point to plot point, and that shit gets boring fast. Like if you're gonna try and be a semi-interactive movie, you gotta at least make the movie interesting. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I've been a huge Zelda fan for coming up on 3 decades. And these 2 games are a huge departure from everything I liked about it. I'm worried that if the upcoming games are like those which the developers have said they're likely to be, I might be losing my favorite series. Last of Us. The core gameplay felt like a huge step back from Uncharted 3, and the story was derivative and boring IMO. That, just because I didn't like it doesn't mean I try to convince other people not to. I get why people like it. I just don't, and I did beat it twice, just to make sure I wasn't missing something. Call of Duty series. All of them. Played the second one back in 2002. 2003. Felt generic at the time. Never looked at the series again after that. And now that they have yearly releases it seems, and none of them add much from the way I read people posting about it, I've just written off the series entirely. Super Mario Galaxy. It feels like a demo of a bunch of different concepts that never get fully executed. The bosses are all the same mechanics. Super Mario 3 had more variety, which is pathetic. The 2 largest levels are a literal mirrored version on one another. I don't at all understand the praise. Super Smash Bros. Any of them. I just can't. I'll play with my kids sometimes just so they get that satisfaction of beating a grown-up, because while I know if I played more I'd get good, no stranger to gaming, I just can't enjoy it enough to want to put the effort in. I'm not good at the grind, lol. So I came in here thinking like, party games. So my answer would be cornhole. I don't get it. But as everyone is mentioning video games, I'll go with Minecraft. My kids both love it. But it makes no sense to me. I think just because I'm not creative enough to build anything. Any fighter like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, etc. I don't think they are bad games by any means, but I'm just so awful at them that I always had a bad time playing with friends. Same thing with shooters like COD. My brain just can't seem to figure them out. My partner got me into playing Bloodborne. Wasn't familiar with the franchise, but I thought to give it a shot. I just kept dying, thinking the game was impossible, and rage quit after 20 minutes. I'll try again once every few months, but it's always the same process. Scenery. I want to go from room to room fighting increasingly harder bosses. I enjoy DS3 a lot more than the 30 hours I put into Elden Ring before coming to the conclusion that it just wasn't for me. League of Legends. I do not get the appeal of LOL, it looks boring as shit. It's a shame BC the lore around the game is really good, but the game itself just seems crap in comparison. It amazes me that so many people get so addicted to it to such an extreme level. Any of the Forza titles, I find them nigh on uncontrollable. They are so twitchy. I get told they're realistic, but no car I've ever driven has been like that. They might be great if I had a full racing setup, but with a controller they can go to hell. Any COD game that comes out, they're nothing but money grabs nowadays with zero skill. 90% of the time you die in those games. There's nothing you could have done better. You are boned cause the guns and player HP are broken to shit. Get tickled, you die. Phase 10. I just can't really understand it, and I feel like it's a weird, complicated, and cheap spin-off of O. But all my friends like it. I think I just find it complicated because I was taught unthoroughly and under pressure the first time. Any story mode game, I feel like the storyline is already written, and I'm just following some commands. But I really like playing FPS games. There could be multiple reasons: ego boost, adrenaline rush, playing together with friends. Hollow Knight. I love Castlevania games and Metroidvania genre in general. But I hated Hollow Knight. The map and exploration is horrible IMO. Everyone seems to love it and hold it as the gold standard for the genre. I hated it. The game is beautiful, and I love GTA 5. Just exploring Los Santos and getting lost in the world. But I just found Arda to a little boring. I think a big contributor was having to navigate the enormous map on a horse. Skyrim. I have tried to play it about 4 times and I just can't get into it. Same with all the Bethesda games. It feels so clunky and horrible to play. I also can't stand the dialogue and the way the characters speak. Baldur's Gate 3. I've played it, watched it, and shit's boring AF. I know that a prerequisite is to like D&D, which I don't, but then I have a shield and see an attack coming, let me block on command then counter. Dark Souls and Elden Ring. I don't get why they're so popular. Not a dig at Souls-like games though. I love the gaming concept, but I need a decent story. I enjoyed Code Vein, Lies of P and Jedi Fallen Order. Probably gonna get flamed for this, I just didn't get what the big deal was. I found the combat awkward and it didn't bring anything new to the table that hasn't been done by someone else. Mario Wonder. It's just... no. So disappointed, and put me off of buying any more brand new release games going forward. Going other direction, I love Paper Mario, Origami King, and everyone else hates it. I do dislike Arda too, but I find it very overhyped. The game is no doubt well made and is impressive on most levels, except the control schemes annoy me, and it felt very drawn out and somewhat boring. Souls-like games. I mean, get why someone enjoys a game that is brutally unforgiving. But I'm not interested in that anymore. I get my ass kicked at work. I didn't need my computer to do it, too. I gave Mass Effect a chance but just could not get into it. Which is weird because I like sci-fi, aliens, and RPGs. But the clunky controls and mission structure didn't click with me. Xenoblade Chronicles. Considered to be a masterpiece in RPGs, and I fancy myself the occasional RPG, so gave it a shot. Didn't like it at all. Baffling how the series gets any praise. League of Legends. I don't feel like sweating for 5 hours just for a teammate to disconnect. Or, even better, spending thousands of hours just to try half of the champions. Near Automata, except for a few cinematic moments like seeing a Goliath-class machine for the first time. There really wasn't anything that I particularly enjoy about the game. Red Dead Redemption 2. I get the game is pretty, but the controls feel so sluggish, and the game just takes forever for anything to happen. I guess westerns just aren't for me. XD. Terraria, Death Stranding, and Stardew, all such management games as a matter of fact. I never liked reading games, but recently started playing Forza Horizon 4 and it's great. The Last of Us Part 1. It's zombie shooter 3717368718 with a generic story on top. Don't know why this is so popular. I regret buying into the social media hype and playing it. Elden Ring, as a Bloodborne fanatic. I gave it a solid try, but I just can't get into it. I don't like open world games as much, though, so it's probably just a me thing. Just recently tried Fallout 4 after being told to give the series a try. Not my cup of tea. Felt like I was playing a more serious version of Postal to Paradise Lost. All Sonic the Hedgehog games. They always struck me as more like demonstrations of the graphics capability of this newfangled Sega Genesis rather than actual games. Minecraft has always bored me to tears. I kept trying it just because everyone seemed to like it so much. I thought I was missing something, but it never got better.